Thanks for staying with us. So this next segment is about the Supreme Court last week, where they dismissed the separate appeals filed by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar of the PDP and his Labour Party counterpart, Mr. Peter Obi, against the victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying it lacked merit. And we know Nigerians have talked about this on different platforms, but until YourView talks about it, we know what, nobody's really heard about it. So we have with us right now Barrister Kabir Akingbelu, who will be shedding more light on this. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure for me. Good morning.
So, I mean, we know everybody has read and overread the 7 key issues that the court highlighted. Number one, first of all, that the INEC substantially complied with the Electoral Act 2022. We know that. Also said that the election cannot be nullified due to unavailability of results on INEC's IREV portal, failure to secure the 25% of votes in the FCT, Abuja cannot invalidate a winner's election, and so many others. I can even allow the ladies to read the others. If you have any other, the issue of APC's double nomination of Kasim Shettima had earlier been decided by the court, and so many others. So we know the grounds on which the Supreme Court made its judgments. However, the issue Nigerians are having is they feel that Atiku's press briefing afterwards, saying that they will be looking to go to the international courts. Is that right? Or what are your thoughts on that? Do they have a case? Thank you, Mark.
Well, it will be unprecedented because just like in the case of Brown Allen, in 1953 decision where Justice Robert Jackson said that the Supreme Court is talking about the Supreme Court of America, that we are final. We are not final because we're infallible. We're infallible because we are final. And that dictum of Justice Robert has been, had been adapted in the case of Adegoke Motors in the Supreme Court here as ours. Now, what we are saying, whether anybody likes it or not, whatever I feel does not matter. Whatever anybody feels does not matter. What matters is that the final court has spoken and they have rested the case concerning the presidential election. So be it. There is nothing we can do because we don't have any country that we can call our own. Let us leave the issue of sentiments and emotions and all that. Now, under international law, the country, the court of another country cannot decide for another country. So we have our Supreme Court, which is the final port of call. Although we have the ECOWAS court, but mostly they take fundamental right cases and with a very limited jurisdiction, not in all cases. So I think the way we are, there is nothing anybody can do. And I would have expected Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Obi, and the rest of them to allow, to just believe that it has come and it has gone. Tomorrow may be their day, and who knows? It can still come. So this is the thing they should have done, because if you look at the two of them, Atiku Abubakar himself, the issue is raising now. Although some of our colleagues, the lawyers, the senior advocates, some of them are guilty here. The issue Atiku is challenging, or that Obi is challenging, about double nomination of Shettima. Atiku won election in 1999 as the governor of Adamawa State. He has even won, remaining to be sworn in. Then he was nominated as the vice presidential candidate. Nobody raised issues against him. Then he became the vice president. At that time, judiciary was the best, last group of a common man. In 2007 or thereabout, Obasanjo sacked him and said he's no longer the Vice President of Nigeria because he joined the Action Congress of Nigeria then. And the Supreme Court came heavily on the president and said, no, you can't do that to a vice president because the procedures have not been followed. Obi was, they removed Ngige for him to become governor. And at the time he became governor, Ngige had served about 2.5 years or thereabout. He was brought back to power. After spending 1.5 years, he went to court. He saw president in the state of Nigeria. Once you are sworn in, they believe that the other man has spent your tenure. You can't elongate it. He went to the Supreme Court. He got judgment. They elongated this thing and said, his tenure. Yeah. Started from the day he took oath of office. At that time, go and look at their press briefing and all that. The judiciary was the last one to come out. But now, why is it different now? And lastly, when the judgment was passed in Osun State, giving victory to the PDP, Atiku, almost, celebrated it like nothing. That, oh, this is the best judgment and all what. Now, but when it's against their party, now it's something else. So I think it is not fair.
Okay, so I have this question because you opened my mind to it last time you were here. Do these maybe they feel obligated to pursue it to, you know, because of the parties and because of their supporters. Is it like a show of, you know, we are a serious party, we're here to stay, so that you can keep your supporters until the next election?
I think maybe you were reading my mind like an angel. You know, the issue is this. You know, some of them got crowdfunding, allegedly. You understand? So in order to impress their... Some people who donated $1,000, $500, $3, $5, $10 across the globe. You will have to justify it. If you just finish at the Court of Appeal and you are not going further, they believe you are not doing the thing. And in Nigeria, I think we should still allow this thing to be that... Well, you should know in every contest, somebody must win. And somebody must lose. So the lawyers too, we must be, you know, we must be frank enough to tell them that we have no case, you have no case, let's not push it further and so on and so forth.
Right, let me pause you for a second because I have breaking news now. So here, the Rivers State House of Assembly complex in Port Harcourt is currently a chaotic scene with tear gas canisters puncturing the humid morning air. The fury comes amid rumors of attempts to impeach Governor Fubara of the state. Earlier, a fire had gutted a section of the assembly complex and the main chamber. We will be discussing more on this show tomorrow as it unfolds. We're going to be watching all the clips right now. We'll see more of that, and we should, before the end of the day, more of it will unfold. We just had to inform our viewers of the breaking news right now that is ongoing. We'll come back to the studio. Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, we sort of predicted this the last time you were here to break down the petitions, and you broke it down very well to the fact that laymen understood what you were saying. And it seemed like there was no case, so I wasn't surprised with the outcome of the results. However, what would you suggest to the opposing factions? What sort of advice do you think would be better for them to take? Because I understand that aside from the fact that they want to live up to that expectation of the people who have supported them, would it be wise to still continue chasing this, knowing all the facts on ground?
No, it would be it not only be an injustice to their people, it would be an injustice to the nation, because you are distracting the government now, because the final court has spoken now. Anything you do now is distraction, and they will not be fair to the system. They have all benefited from the magnanimity and benevolence of the judiciary, given, you know, under the rule of law. And the rule of law is here. They have interpreted the law to be what it is. And again, we must learn something. Emotion and sentiment has no place in judicial discourse. All those social media cutting, newspaper cutting and all that, all those protests, all those sing-song and all that, it doesn't move the judges of the Supreme Justice of the courts, because they deal with hard facts. If you, it's a classical case of, as you lay your bed, you lie on it. If you have not, you know, come to court with a strong case, there is no how. In 1983, Chief Abubakar refused to go to court. Not because he didn't want to go. He said the 30 days limited for filing election petition was not enough for me to file an iron cast case. That's what he said. The 21 days window allowed for filing petition, I want to say, is too limited for somebody to do any meaningful thing. You want to cover 176,300 something polling units in Nigeria. How many lawyers do you want to, you know, engage to do that for you? So it's garbage in, garbage out. That, and in the case of, you know, I think Buhari and INEC, and Obasanjo, it's in part 1041 of the Nigeria Weekly. Pastor Cholo of blessed memory said, for anybody to win a presidential election petition in Nigeria, it needs not less than 2,500 witnesses. Okay. So, what do you need? In a situation whereby somebody is coming with 13 witnesses to prove a thing against the whole country, somebody is coming with 27. What do you want them to do? Let's assume they even nullify all those 30 polling units or 27 polling units. Yes, nobody is a Professor Pella who can see anything, or God who can see anything. You are here, you are saying what is in Ekiti or in London. You understand?
All right, let me come to talk about, because I know you have
so, based on what you have said, it is a bit, it's as if we are having lawyers who are giving confidence to a case that they know is not, there's no merit to the case.
Exactly.
Is it possible for us to create a system where the lawyers get penalized for taking the time of our government? Because one, we're wasting resources of our courts. We have a lot of other things that these our judges need to focus their attention on. Rather than doing that, they are spending time in court trying to prove a case where even you, the lawyer, don't know that you don't have enough evidence to back up what you're saying. The judgment makes it look like the lawyers, these are sons, they are getting paid a lot of money. How do we ensure that the system does not just profit a few lawyers and then puts a lot of difficulty and costs on our government?
Okay. Well, you see, people don't know that lawyers could be disciplined. You understand? People don't know. It lies on their client to now say, you advised me wrongly, and they will get good outcome. You understand? But nobody will have the right to say, oh, Mr. A has hired lawyer C, and lawyer C didn't do it. It's only that client that can complain. So if the client didn't complain, there's nothing anybody can do. Government cannot do that. You understand? Because that relationship is between him and his client. It's for his client to know, you should have advised me properly before I start this. Because before I started it. Because if you look at the fresh evidence they are trying to, everybody knows, all the lawyers there know, at least 90-something%, you are sure that it cannot be allowed.
So, please, from your own point of view, based on the case that was put forward, if you feel the lawyers knew that the case did not have strong enough merit and yet they went to the court, is it that our aspirants did not have the information, or our aspirants are just hoping that by sentiment they could win? Or should we now start saying that the aspirants should start holding the lawyers accountable, that if you can't guarantee me justice, we're not going to go through this?
Politicians are die-hard optimists. You understand? But it's now, as a lawyer, for you to tell them, this is not it. Because, and again, they are not lawyers. In the case of Buhari and Obasanjo, I can remember, no, in the case of Buhari and Yaradua, we raised one point then, I was part of that team. We raised the point that all the witness depositions that were supposed to be done in court were done before a lawyer to Atiku. And to Buhari, they did it before the lawyer himself. And the law says no affidavit or evidence can be used in court which is prepared before a lawyer who is appearing in the matter. But the lawyer fell victim of that. All the witness deposition of Buhari, they were thrown off, remaining about 3 and 4. You understand? So, at the end of the day, we raise it that Buhari should have known, in our argument, that Buhari, being a past president and a general, should have known that this is not proper. Nikitobi said, no, I part way with the lawyers to the respondent on this ground. That because the man, Buhari, knew his limited knowledge in law, and he has hired a lawyer. You know, a senior advocate for that matter. So, for that reason, if they are not lawyers...
All right, let me come in this angle, because, you know, my father was a lawyer, and I know the weight he used to put on the Supreme Court justices, you know, the sanctity, the sacredness of that stool of the Supreme Court. And I saw how, in recent times, they were spoken to in disparaging terms. You know, like even the young generation, the way they talk about the Supreme Court justices, it was like, and I'm thinking, this is like the highest level of any nation. As a lawyer, and as in your own experience, how did it make you feel this season, the way the Supreme Court was held? When Nigerians didn't even care. They were just talking about them anyhow.
Exactly. It's because the Supreme Court itself need to, you know, they need a searchlight to do some introspection and to also know, we're in charge, let us do things rightly. You understand? Whatever, we are not saying they are not doing the right thing, but then when people do all this, they have the right to punish them. The court should take up people and jail them, for goodness sake, because, no, let me tell you, if we don't do that, it's just like social media. I've been one of the advocates that it should be regulated. Now, in the situation where somebody will just sit down somewhere and then black market order, black market injunction. I've seen a governor that was called the governor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. You understand, all these things are not good. They are called the contempt of court. So if you are denigrating the highest court of the land, then we are in trouble, because whether we like it or not, that is the only court that we have. It has happened in America once, in the case of O.J. Simpson. The president had to come and say, no, whatever you feel, this is the highest court of the land. I think people should be educated. People should be brought to book. Question people that are denigrating the names of the court and dragging it in the mud.
Sorry, one more question for you, because I know the lady wants to jump in here. Concerning, what are the lessons? Like, because 2027 is around the corner. And the elections are going to come again. what should the opposition's lawyers or during elections, what must they do to ensure that if they're going to come to court at all, they must have, what have we learned from this? What are the loopholes that to prepare themselves for bringing the case to court next time?
That's like the final question.
Yes.
Because before we go to that, I wanted to ask concerning, there was a judgment that I took on the show where the judge, after giving the judgment, called out the lawyers and the people that came to media that how come we're having lawyers such as you, coming to media to talk about cases in court, that we should stop doing that. Do you feel like we should start punishing lawyers who come on in the media to discuss cases that are still in court?
Exactly. In fact, it is not permitted under the law. They call it principle of least pendent light. When a matter is in court, you don't say it will succeed or it will not succeed. You understand? So leave it. At the time the Court of Appeal gave its judgment, you can pass your comment because that is the judgment of the court. But immediately they file the appeal at the Supreme Court, you have to keep mum until the judgment comes out. So nobody's permitted. I think the court should start punishing lawyers for this. It has happened before. Some senior lawyers were fined 30 million naira for filing cases. You understand? In the case of Didi. You understand? So the court said, the lawyers of your standard, why should you do this? They fine them 30 million, each of them. So when they start, and I've been in Supreme Court recently, some lawyers who file some cases, they will just say, okay, you are a lawyer, will you withdraw this appeal now, or we do they should wield the stick more and punish lawyers for this, then there could be peace. Yeah, because they will say that cost must be paid personally by you, not by your client.
Okay, answer the question now.
Okay, yes.
That's my question concerning what should lessons learned. How do you build a proper case that you can take to their presidential?
I think the time limited for filing petitions should be extended. If we really want to, say that we should be filing election petition, or we could say they shouldn't file election petition at all. Because in a situation whereby you want INEC to come and give evidence, even before you start meeting them to get the documents you will use, the 21 days has lapsed. Sometimes you don't even get the hard copy of the judgment or of the result until about 1 or 2 weeks after addressing press and blackmailing them, and INEC should conduct a free election, a fair election. It may not be free from some absurdities, but at least something that could be seen to have been better. Then any rule that you are not going to use, don't put it in your rules. Like the issue of IREP. If you know you are not going to use, don't put it there at all. Those are avoidable confusions or avoidable arguments and condemnation. And government should also, empower INEC to be truly independent in the right sense of it.
Fantastic.
Yes, okay, so as a layman just listen, I would say, are you saying that truly lawyers should not be trusted? Because everything you have explained to me is like it's either they are playing their clients or they are deliberately just in contempt of court. So really, who is a lawyer of integrity, or do they even have, is that an important quality for them?
Lawyers have integrity, you can see. But I would have expected by the time they went to Court of Appeal, and they may not know the truth at that time. But when the Court of Appeal has given his judgment, that judgment was scientific. It was analytical. Even to a layman, he will understand it. You brought a report from UK. We don't know the person who prepared the report, the circumstances he did it, you don't know. Who is tendering it? How many people did you interview? How many states did you visit before you made the report? And you want to tender it. You have gone to America to get something from the university there. We don't know who signed it. The person who signed it is not coming before the court to give evidence. You have 180 days to hear your election petition at the trial court. You finish the 180 days, you didn't tender it. You are bringing it at the Supreme Court, which is acting at the appellate court. Now, how will they be able to cross-examine anybody who has made that? We know it's not possible. At the Court of Appeal level, you could come out and say, well, that case, we have done a good thing, leave it. If he now says, let us try, so the public will know that he wants to try. Are lawyers
just incompetent then?
They are competent, but sometimes they allow their client to overpower them, to dictate to them. Yes, it's not that the lawyers will not tell them the strength, but sometimes you have to stand for principle that, okay, if you want to go and get another lawyer, I am not going to do it. So that principle is what lawyers should do.
Okay.
They will not eat plenty.
Well, some of them are good. They may not be collecting money.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
So all these cases, they're stored in your head somewhere.
Yes, I have the gift. I have the gift. They call me authority.
I mean, like, you just dig it out. Like,
Yeah.
Just calling it forth.
Yeah.
Next to talk to me about River State.
I didn't know what's going on in River State.
Yes, I do. You know, sometimes, you know, a succession plan by the outgoing governor. Sometimes I wonder why it is so. You know, succession plan, you want to go, you have spent 8 years, you have spent 4 years. You want the person that will succeed you to be one of your boys. Unfortunately, they miscalculate. You may not know the heart of man. Even the devil does not know the heart of man, like Mark Shakespeare said. Now, if you look at it that way, you think, oh, this is my most trusted man. It has happened in Zamfara. It has happened in Abia. In fact, the governor that was there, the governor in Abia, he withdrew the university certificate issued to him by the state university. So these are the things. You understand? But what they demand from their successors, they are too much that the successor cannot bear.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
That is all we can take on the show today. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.